Today, I'm going to be doing something I've never done before, and we're going to be diving into this. It could give us clarity on the price direction for XRP, but I'm not going to be giving any hopium. We're just going to be looking at the astrology today. We're going to be looking at the charts, and we're just going to be letting you know with all honesty what we see. None of this is financial or investment advice. I'm an engineer gone crypto astrologer. I combine technical analysis with astrology. Smash the like button if you haven't already to support the channel. So the general astrology is more positive in the beginning of the month, but this is general. This is not specifically for the XRP astrology. I'll be coming out with a general astrology video to help you also in your personal life soon. That's also another video I've never done before. So we're having some new beginnings here. We're trying some new things on this channel. This is exciting. But December 1st, we have Venus trining Neptune, but at the same time, Venus opposing Uranus. A little bit of volatility. And then December 2, we have Venus sextiling Pluto. Venus is the planet of money and what we value, love, and making that positive aspect to Pluto, which is the planet of power. And also can be the power of wealth as well. December 5th, we have the full moon in Gemini. No major aspects that I've seen so far that are a concern for the full moon. And sometimes I'd say more often than not, we can get a pump after the full moon. So that's interesting to see if we could get a pump around December 5th or December 6th. Because on December 6th, we have Mercury trining Jupiter, which is a positive. Mercury is the planet of trade, making a positive trine to Jupiter, the planet of expansion. So we can see that's looking actually really good because we're getting two Mercury aspects that are positive trines after the full moon. So that's increasing the likelihood that we could get a pump after that full moon, which is looking pretty good. But then concerns come after that. Around the time the Fed is going to decide if they're going to cut rates or pause or do whatever they're going to do, we get Mars square Saturn, which is a concern. Mars can bring it can bring major volatility, major shifts, and it's making that hard square to Saturn, which can bring contractions. December 11th, the day after the Fed funds rate decision, we have Neptune at the anaretic 29th to the degree, the most intense degree, which can bring confusion, could bring a lot of confusion in the markets. Mercury, the planet of trade, is opposing Uranus, the planet that brings massive volatility and unpredictability, wild swings in the market. That's a big concern. Okay, so that's interesting. Right after the Fed funds rate decision, we could see a correction. It's possible, but it's also possible it could come later in the month. Because look at all these negative transits later in the month as well. Mars squaring Neptune can bring more confusion in the markets, can slow things down. Sun is squaring Saturn, can bring some tough lessons in reality, can bring some contractions. New moon in Sagittarius with Mars squaring the Bitcoin moon. Now we're talking about XRP today, but I mean, if Bitcoin dumps, it can certainly dump XRP. I know a lot of people want to believe that XRP is decoupling, and maybe it will at some point, but still, it is following quite closely to Bitcoin. And in fact, Bitcoin topped the recent top that Bitcoin had. XRP was still on a downtrend. So we can't get too much hopium with this, guys. We got to be realistic and just be looking at the charts. So Mars squaring the Bitcoin moon, we could get a correction for sure around December 20th. Cannot count that out. I mean, we're getting all negative transits this second half of December. So big concern. We could get a big slowdown, big contractions, could get a big correction with crypto in general, and certainly with XRP. But it'd be really interesting to see how strong XRP could hold up. We're getting Sun squaring Neptune, which can bring more confusion. Markets don't like confusion. December 21st. And then we're getting Venus squaring Saturn, which should bring another contraction. On the 22nd, Jupiter squaring Chiron, which can bring up old wounds, bad memories. December 24th, Venus squaring Neptune can bring more confusion, and markets don't like confusion. December 30th, Mercury squares Saturn. So Mercury is the planet of trade squaring Saturn, which can bring more contraction. So man, December general astrology is looking terrible. But let's look at the XRP astrology specifically December 17th, Jupiter is squaring the XRP Saturn. So that's not great on the 17th. We could see a further contraction. We could see a further dump, dare I say, for XRP. Perhaps around December 17th, give or take a week. January 1st, the only hopium I can give is we have Uranus conjunct the XRP Jupiter on January 1st. And that can bring major volatility increases. So that's really interesting. And it could be a positive volatility increase. It could be a price increase around January 1st. So either we are starting a move up or we have already started a move up by January 1st. It's really interesting. Okay, so the thing I've never done on this channel is I took the XRP ETF astrology. So if you weren't already aware, there was a major XRP ETF that was released on November 20th. So I took that information, I plugged it into an astrology chart based on the time. I believe the opening is usually 9:30 Eastern Standard Time, at least in New York, with the stock market and with the ETFs. And then on November 20th of this year. So I ran a birth astrology chart. I could even show that to y'all real quick. So here's the chart, and this is the information that we got here. So what I can do is I open up, the astrology software, and then I can see the various transits that the planets are making to this XRP chart, such as this. So we'll be talking about this. This is a major volatility here in December 14th with Uranus, which brings volatility, opposing the XRP ETF Sun, which is a very sensitive area on the chart. So we could see massive volatility around there. So we look at my notes here. You see that here on December 14th. I wrote down that transit. But let's go through all of these. So December 6th, yeah, I mean, beginning December is definitely more optimistic around that full moon, December 5th. And the next day, XRP gets Pluto sextiling the XRP. I'll just say ETF. The ETF moon, that's positive. We could see an uptick around that full moon. But then right after, we see Saturn conjunct the XRP, the ETF Saturn. Now that is just kind of, the ETF just started, so Saturn retrograded, and now it's going back direct. So that's a quick thing there. I'm not sure how much of a correction we get with that, but December 14th, we have Uranus opposing the ETF Sun, like I was saying. With that opposing transit, that brings heightened volatility, and it could be a price move down, unfortunately. As we have Jupiter, same day, we're having Jupiter opposing the ETF Chiron, which is not great. That could bring the opposite of an expansion. December 29th, we have Uranus, the planet that brings volatility, opposing the ETF Mercury, the planet of trade. So we could see more volatility. We're probably not going to be out of the woods by December 29th, especially if Bitcoin is dumping. And you guys could take a look at my previous video where I talked about the Bitcoin predictions based on astrology. And I looked at the Bitcoin astrology and the Bitcoin ETF astrology, which was very, very fascinating. So if you haven't already, check out the Bitcoin predictions for December. As you know, Bitcoin moves the crypto markets, and XRP will probably follow along pretty closely. December 30th, we do have Neptune, which can bring euphoria, sextiling the ETF Uranus. I don't know how much that's going to do. Neptune doesn't have a huge effect on price positive upswings. It usually brings more of a negative confusion to the markets, but so I wouldn't get too excited about that. We could look at the charts, but overall XRP astrology with the normal XRP chart as well as this XRP ETF, which is giving us a lot more astrology data here, is not looking good. So we could see a price movement downwards. Now, if we look at the charts here, it's interesting. I have this indicator that shows where there's liquidity gaps. There's a bit of a gap at around $2.08 and again at $1.96. So there's a chance that we could head down to those levels. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So we could easily head down to those levels, if not further. And I also have this interesting trend line here from the peak of the XRP bull market peak, possibly. That could be the actual bull market peak. It could be July 18th, all the way down. And you see it's how the price interacts with it. We got resistance here. Got a lot of resistance on, and we got more resistance right here on this trend line. We did poke through it here, and then it used this trend line as support, but then we got the massive October crash. And it was trying to stay above it, but now we just bounced off it again on this day right here, November 21st, bounced off of it. So in the worst case, there's a chance we could head down again, and this is around like in December. This gets down to all the way to yikes, like $1.40, even $1.32. So that's a concern that we could get down to those levels in the worst case scenario. Okay, so that's definitely a concern. And another thing, we take a look at this chart. We're comparing the XRP price now to the previous bear market, and it's following the dotted lines here quite closely. So this is a concern because the dotted line, at least from the last bear market, goes all the way down to $1, almost $1.75. So that's certainly possible. We could get down to those levels in December. I may buy that opportunity. I honestly don't know if I'm going to buy XRP. I'm going to have to make a decision on what I want to buy, but I'm probably, if we get another correction in December, which I'm thinking is going to happen, I'm going to buy, I do have like 50% cash. You can look at my previous videos like a month ago when I sold half my portfolio so that I could buy the dip. Yeah, so I'll keep you guys updated with what I'm thinking about buying in December, but it might be XRP. It's certainly possible. Maybe Ethereum, maybe Bitcoin. All right, so that's just a quick update. But what are you guys thinking? Are you thinking about buying or selling? Now, Mars is going to be going to Sagittarius. Well, actually, no, Mars is already in Sagittarius, and Bitcoin does not do very well when Mars is in Sagittarius. So that's not looking great for this month either. Subscribe if you haven't already, and click the links below if you're interested in this work that I'm doing, where you can join the private Crypto Aster Mastermind, where you can get instant access to the Bitcoin Q1 2026 crypto astrology forecast, which I did in some of my private videos for my private group. 2 spots are available for December, so definitely click on that and type in the coupon code on the checkout page, and you can get access to this, as well as monthly private group calls with me, where you can ask me all your questions, and I do a much, much deeper dive than I'm able to do on this public YouTube channel. So the XRP predictions is we could have another big correction in the mid to late December. All right, so yep, still a concern here for the bulls. If you're shorting, might be a good month, December at least. Good news is I think a sneak peek, I think things are looking better for January, but I'll have to keep you guys updated. Definitely subscribe if you want to get my January Bitcoin and XRP and Solana and Ethereum updates. That's going to be coming out a bit later. Definitely stay subscribed so you can get access to those, so it'll pop up on your algorithm. But thanks everybody for tuning in. Let me know what questions you have. Share this video with a friend or colleague or family member who likes crypto and astrology. We got a unique group of people. We got some weirdos, but in a good way. We got some benevolent weirdos going on here on this channel. We love crypto and astrology, so definitely stay tuned and subscribe. So let me see if there's any comments in the live video here. Okay, not today. I think this is a time when people are not online. But watch the recording, and thanks everybody, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace.